Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Buono. I'm the president of the Computer Use System. I'd like to welcome you to the August meeting. Our agenda for today is we're very briefly cover these group business and some very interesting tech topics. You have to what's going on in the industry. Talk a little bit about what has not been happening in the AI world. And then we're getting our feature representation managed communication memory part 2. Picking up where we left off last month. We do have sponsors for the meetings. Sponsorship is come on in. It's $10 a meeting, $100 a year. It's slide during the meeting, post the video on the web. We mention you as a Facebook posting, ask around who knows you may want to Our sponsor this month is our own Carolyn McLean, the candy lady. We have some amazing candles. I just got the sit-down candle because I was running in mosquito issue. My backyard, not anymore. I lit that and they were gone. Carolyn with the mic are not here this week, but when she comes back, it'll look like a great gift of something for the house. But that's everyone. Okay, very short and easy for business. The only author is here today are myself, Don Buono, Barry Gordon, Carolyn, our treasurer, and Mike, our other vice president who handles Windows and iOS. Barry handles Mac and iOS. I handle the started the right up. We do have a webmaster, Jim Evans. Easily acts is seen by query if we see him, it's by email. We do have a website, MVCUG.org. Go up and visit it. It contains a wealth of information, all the upcoming meetings, the topics, great links. Here we go. More about the Facebook page, membership benefits. We do have things that you can borrow from this fund. We have slide scanners. We have video projectors. We do have a email list. If you're not a member of this, please join. Because if you have a question you need help on, email it to the group, and somebody will respond. So far, our average time is less than 5 minutes, which is amazing. Not uncommon, but all we can. At the same time, the single biggest benefit is professional consultation discount. Myself with Barry, whenever you need help, over the phone, sharing screens, absolutely free. With telephone call, with the app that with your home, there is a slight charge. Best Buys Geek Squad is $250. We charge very lot, and you only pay get fixed. Next month is our best meeting. The election of officers, which maybe someday someone's going to want to have it. But the topics of each meeting are decided by the members, not the officers, not a committee. You tell us what you want to learn about. That's what the presentation came up here. It was the members that said, we want to learn more about management. We want to learn more about AI, more about that. As long as it's computer related, we'll place it in it. Off the door, we push it out. Where position you watch. In theory, we are back in this group next month.
And then I think October through December, we're in,
We did. What happened is that fun? Well, the biggest thing, it's more involved with almost half of that. It's because it's not plummet over 30 points.
I don't think it caused it.
37 a share, down to 205. Now it's back up to about the other areas in the adaptive. Originally, this was mostly about those back to AI in the past year. And we were expecting major advancement. Well, it hasn't happened. Matter of fact, there's lots of discussion on it's whether AI is lacking the promise. ChatGPT still works, but it's not taking over anything like it was thought. Google's AI is just flat. They introduced the prototype, all kinds of promise. Apple Intelligence, the delay, the some kind of revised. Interesting, Apple Pro Vision, and you haven't seen Pro Vision like strongly urged.
It's Vision Pro, sorry.
Vision, thank you. Thank you, Pro. The Apple Store in Tucson, walk in, get a demo of it. It is incredible. It's immersive video, unlike being there. It is set standard now. They know that have come up. FlyCare, military medical, has issued an alert, a worldwide alert, all methods of FlyCare, wearing a text messages that sending a link to pay for your service. It is not from FlyCare. This one is really real. I got one. Interestingly, the day after I got the message about that, I did text messages to FlyCare. Here's the link to pay your bill. I don't know. Medicare has issued a scam alert. Anyone who's on Medicare, alert them. Make phone calls, and what they do is they call you and say, you need some equipment. We need help with late braces, and it sounds legit. Well, what they do is they get your Medicare number, and then they go in and bill against your account, Medicare, for thousands of dollars. This one is real. A friend of mine, they called her up and said, you want, Medicare Schedule C and D. I think this is what some of like, it was like $10 a month. Yeah, I'll take C. If the next month you get the Medicare statement, they had billed $7,300 Medicare. Also, text messages. You need to pay your copay for Medicare. Anytime you get a text message with a URL link in it, don't use it. If you get an email with a URL in it, be very leery of it. First thing you do on an email, it's go up and check the sender. Is the sender who they think it is? If it says it's American Express, then it should say AmericanExpress.com. Something .ie or CAN or BR. Those are all scam. .in, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Your credit card bill. Never give out your credit card number on a cold call. If someone called you from a company that says, hey, you owe us money. If you deal with that company, they say, well, you can pay your bill with a credit card. Have this verify who they are, not the other way around. What they'll do is they say, well, we need to verify who you are, your email address. Looks like you need a one. You go back and say, no, you tell me what address you have on file for me, and I don't know who you are. If you call a company with the number you have for that company, that's legit. No, you did not win anything. Essentially, Publishers Clearinghouse. If that's his all of your friends, Publishers Clearinghouse will never notify you by phone, email, anyway. They show up at the door if you win. It's on their website. They make it very clear about that. There are international scams, Publisher Clearinghouse, where they call and say, oh, you have won the client, you need blah, blah, blah. They'll just need to say, well, you need to pay the tax. We give it to you, anywhere from $2,000, $10,000. You need to collect $1 million. By the way, they also do not give out cards and money. You get a card or money. If you don't get the money and say, if you are in doubt about something, call one of us. I am available 24/7. If I don't answer the phone, but these are very rare. Okay, for iOS, we don't have any special tips this week. Most of the tips are going to be in the presentation, and the presentation tip was great. Barry, who is going to give us a quick video.
Greetings, Mac Geeksters. This is Barry, and this is a Baz Mac Geek quick tip. Say you have some photos on your Macintosh in a folder, and you want to share them with a friend or family member. But when you do, they tell you, hey, I can't read that file format. I can't open that. So what do? You can easily change the format or convert the format of any file on your Mac in the Finder without any third-party software at all. Here's how you do it. I happen to have a folder here in my dock, some demo files. So I've got these 10 files, and we'll start with this one here, just one at a time to show you the process. It's an .heic file, as you can see from the file extension. Now, an HEIC file is technically a container. It stands for High Efficiency Image Container, and it contains, in this case, a still image, which is an HEIF, High Efficiency Image File Format. And this is a file format that is kind of a little better than JPEG, which has been around for a quarter of a century or so. It provides a better compression, in other words, a smaller file size for a higher quality image. If we get info on this one file, it says it is 1.7 megabytes. To change the file format of any file that your Mac can read in the Finder without any third-party software, as I mentioned before, you can bring up a contextual menu, which is a control click, hold down the control key and click, or right click if you have a 2-button mouse, or a 2-finger click on a trackpad. And you're looking for this item called Quick Actions. Notice that one of them is Convert Image. When you select it, you get a Convert Image dialog, and you can change the format from HEIC to HEIF, which means it gets rid of the container, a PNG, or a JPEG. And JPEG is probably what you want to do to share it with someone when you don't know what software they have and it's going to be ubiquitous on any operating system. So now you can see that the actual size of this photo, if I leave it at the same size as the original, it's going to go up to 3 megabytes. So the HEIC format, HEIF format inside the container is much more efficient. It made a 1.7 megabyte file, whereas a JPEG would be 3 megabytes. So you probably don't want to increase the size of the file. So you can choose an image size and you can go down. Actual size is quite big in this case because it's an iPhone camera file. You can choose large, medium, or small here, and it gives you the sizes in kilobytes that this file will be converted to. So we'll go with large. Preserving metadata means it's going to keep the location information, if there is location information on the file, the camera information, what f-stop was used, and so forth and so on. You can choose to keep it or not, up to you, and then click Convert to JPEG. There it is, and it even appends large to the end of the file name. So if we compare this, if I do a space bar to bring up the quick look in Mac OS, I can look at this large one, and if I hit the down arrow, I can see the regular one, or the one that I converted from, and they look pretty much identical. The quality is just slightly less on the JPEG because it's a smaller file size, and so it get rid of some pixels. But if we were to do that again, choose Quick Actions, Convert Image, and go to Small, which is really, really small, probably okay for a website image someplace. Convert that to JPEG. Again, it appends the small in the name, and we will look at it. And now you can see it actually does look a lot smaller and a lot fuzzier than the original. So there's the original, there's the small version, there's the large JPEG. So any file you have, whether it's JPEG or PNG or HEIF or HEIC, you can convert on the fly in the Finder without any third-party software using that quick action. And you don't have to do it one at a time. Let's select all these files. Well, first, let's look at one more quick action here. Let's look at this broken windmill file. You can see, it's sideways. You know what? One of the quick actions is just to rotate that file, and that fixes the orientation. But you can convert file sizes on the fly with multiple files. I'm going to command click, could have shift clicked on this other one. These are all HEICs. I can right click on any one of them, go to Quick Actions, Convert Image, choose JPEG, go down to Large, and Convert. And it creates new files for all of them. Let's look at that as a list. Open this up a little bit, and you can see we have a large version of the JPEG of the broken windmill HEIC. So you can do bulk conversions in the Finder just by right-clicking and choosing Finder Actions. Now you'll also find the Finder Actions if you look in the View menu for the Finder and show the preview pane. Click on a file. Let's click on this one. We'll make this a little bigger. You can rotate them here. If you hold the Option key down, you can rotate it the other direction to the right. You can create a PDF of any file or image file here. And here's the more. This also has Convert Image. And you have built-in remove background functionality if your photo has a discernible subject. Probably it doesn't work too good on landscapes. Okay, so we can see the file sizes here. Let's turn off the preview. View, hide preview. The Mexican Sunrise HEIC 1.4, and then the large JPEG is much smaller. And a JPEG, as mentioned before, will be able to be read by just about anybody on any computer, operating system, any device that you happen to send it to. So I hope you enjoyed this quick tip. This is Baz Mac Geek signing off. Oh, one more thing. I encountered a bug when recording this tip. If you choose a file and you go into Quick Actions and you choose Convert Image, be prepared to commit to this process. You got to click Convert. There's a bug in macOS Sonoma It may have been there before, I don't know. And it hasn't been fixed in 2 point upgrades so far. If you click the cancel button, you want to change my mind, choose a different file or something, I'll cancel it, I'll choose a different file. And now when I go to quick actions and convert image, nothing happens. The bug somehow, when you click cancel, it disables the convert image menu item. It also disables create PDF and remove background, come to think of it. The rotate will still work, which is interesting, but convert image won't. The only way to reestablish it is to force the Finder to relaunch. You can do that by bringing up the force quit dialog, hold down Command Option, and then tap the Escape key. And when you select the Finder, click Relaunch. It's going to confirm that you want to do that. Relaunch it. When it comes back, go back to the Finder. We can close that. And we'll go Snow on the Lawn, Quick Actions, Convert. Let's make a PNG this time. We'll go down to Medium, convert to PNG. So there it is. That's the bug. If you click Cancel, it'll disable it unless you restart the computer or force relaunch the Finder. See you next time.
Or graphic. Those two PNG. Yes, sir.
Just to address the operating system issues, I understand that HEIC now, I think, might be natively recognized by Windows 11. But I know that in Windows 10, you have to get an extension and download it from the Microsoft App Store for Windows and install it on your Windows 10 machine in order for it to know what to do with an HEIC.
Windows 10, yes. Windows 11, and here are 2 different stories. Some people say, yeah, it works just fine. And there's another group saying, oh, no, it's not. They think you can't open the HEIC file.
Yeah, it could be whatever build of 11 they have. Yeah. I do know that Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom and InDesign will deal with HEIC within their own apps on Windows 10 because I've used it. But yeah.
I'm a little an HEIC and HEIF, like putting the photograph in a folder or an envelope.
If it's transparent to you, you'll see the file, it says HEIC. All you have to worry about.
And it's a container because it can contain more than just an image. Like, yeah, it is compressed. It is compressed, yes.
So in all of them, is it compression or is it just compression in?
All of them are compressed. JPEG is more aggressively compressed, and the quality is affected more adversely by that compression.
The only file format that is not compressed,
or TIFF.
Oh yeah, and TIFF. Well, no TIFF can be converted through.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
But you have to tell it to do it.
And the only reason you give a rip is because of the amount of fill you want to be able.
That has more to do with saving storage space on your device. That's why they're compressed.
Well, but also the difference between actual and small.
Oh,
Getting worse.
yeah, because it's also reducing the resolution, the actual dimensions of the file in pixels.
All four of all of those essentially their own thing within that scale of diminishment. No matter which one I put it in, if I'm selecting actual all, they're all doing this.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So will a zip file change the quality of thing?
No. When you zip it, all that does is it compresses it into a single file. We just said it. With decompress or download any quality, not daily when you zip it, or it is also archived. Any questions on Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, mainframes, Mini?
There's going to be a new Mac Mini. That's not a question. I just said that.
Yeah, well, we're very curious. Well, what could it be?
Yeah, and they're speculating it'll be downsized to like the size of an Apple TV.
Question? Okay, there are no questions. We're going to take a short 15-minute break.
Okay, folks, welcome back from the break. We're going to move right along in the main presentation today, and it's how to manage and edit your vacation media, part 2. And you notice I say media because we're going to be talking about not only still photos, but video, since almost all of our devices today produce great video and great still. As a matter of fact, more and more people who are in the upper end amateurs are using their phones as their primary camera. I know some professional photographers who now use their iPhones, iPhone 15s, to do professional photography. And we're going to be talking about Photos and Lightroom Classic. Most of what I'm going to be showing as features are available on both. If I do show you something on all 3 platforms, Photos is Mac only. Lightroom is everybody. Windows has got a Photos app, which I can never remember the name of.
Photos. It is.
Okay. Most everything I'm showing in Photos on the Mac is also on Windows. So let's move along.
Isn't it called Pictures?
I don't remember.
They have a photo management app called Photos.
Yeah.
I think you have to download it.
Last month, we talked about organizing your media, how to do albums, folders, how to use smart folders, keywords, great way how to use maps, which is a feature I just love. And we talked about general editing. I have 3 topics we're going to talk about today.
And if you're part of that video.
The video, last month's meeting is online. It got posted this last week, despite all my best efforts. I ran into more problems with that one. Okay, compositing still images. And by compositing, I mean taking 2 images and putting them together to look as one. Normally, for most people, that's taking a subject from one, a background, and overlaying. That's what I mean by compositing. And we're talking about how to trim video, because not everyone has to trim video that they take. Even professionals do it. They go in and cut out parts that they don't want. And then we're going to talk about one of the most great things available to us now, which so few people know about, is output options. As one person this morning asked, I used to be able to print out all my photos and be able to show people. How do I do that digitally today? Well, I'm going to show you a number of options that you can do easily from within the apps to produce books, slideshows, share photos. If you want coffee cups with your pictures on them, it's easily available. So let's move on. Compositing stills. Let's talk about that. I have a video for iOS because one in iOS is a little tricky to demonstrate in this environment. And then I'm going to show you in macOS how to do the same thing. So let's take a look at. I'm going to demonstrate how to place a subject or a person out of a photo into a new background. It's called compositing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this photo right here, which I've already copied and pasted into notes. It's a brand new blank note. And then I'm going to take the couple from this picture and put it on that background. Now, with this picture open, I press and hold on the subject, and you see how it highlighted like that? Once I've done that, I swipe up with my thumb, come into notes, there is the note open, then I have to press on the background to get the black borders. That's very important. And then I just drop it, and you notice the white band around it? Well, if I press on the 3 little dots, I say remove background, and it'll remove that white line about that. And then I just go in and resize the image any way I want to, like that, a little bit more, there we go. And then once I tap off onto the background, it becomes a permanent part of the picture. And then with notes, I can go in, hit done, and then I can save it back to photos. Right down here, save image, and that puts it right back into photos. And that's all there is to it. Okay, there's a couple of tricks about doing it on the iPhone. Getting the image to be selected can sometimes be very tricky, but just be patient, and eventually you'll see the white line come up saying it's been selected. And then moving between applications when you have that selected and using your thumb to go up takes practice, but it is very doable. Yeah, Barry.
Can you only do that in the Notes app? No other place to do it? What about Freeform? Is that on the iPhone?
Yeah, I've never tried it in Freeform. I don't think you can because you need to have the base image behind it. You can move the image to any application.
Yeah, what you did.
Yeah, I can lift it out of one photograph and take just that subject that I cut out and move it into messages, into email, into notes. To do compositing, the only way I know of is notes, to bring the 2 images together, because that's the only way you can access the iPhone equivalent of preview. This feature is also available on the Android, and it works almost identically. They use a different application instead of Notes, but it's very...
OneNote?
No, OneNote is Windows. At OneNote on the Windows machine, you use OneNote, and it works almost identically. Or no, it's not OneNote. I forget what it is on Windows, but because we're going to be using it on the Mac, we're going to be using Preview, and I don't remember the equivalent to Preview on Windows.
I'm not sure there is one.
There's something similar. It's like you can use OneNote. I know you can use OneNote. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into. We're going shut this down. Now I'm going to show you how to do compositing like we just did in iOS on Mac OS. While they're very, very similar, there are some differences. First off, we use preview rather than notes. So I have preview open. I've already loaded my backdrop. I brought it into preview. And to make this work, you have to come over here and select markup. And you can tell you're in markup by this menu line right here. If you're not in markup, it will not work. So now I go back over to my photo where I want to draw my subjects out of. I right click, copy subject, and you can tell by the white outline going around the subject, we have the copy. I copy it. I come back in to preview. I'm over here in preview, and I paste. Now, the image is too big, but I can very easily draw it down by grabbing the handles, bring it down, and make it about the right size. So that's pretty close to what it would have been in real life. And now I come out of markup and it's done. Now the nice thing about it is in markup and preview, it is not destructive. Until you bring it back into photos, you always have the image where you can move it around. So I want to move it back over there. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. So I can leave it there. In notes, it's permanent. In preview, it's not. And that's how you do compositing on Mac OS. Is it perfect? No. Is it pretty good? Yeah. It does a very good job of cutting out subject. Yes, ma'am. It's really slick, and Lightroom has got something similar. However, you can select subject only for masking. You can't cut out subject in Lightroom yet. The rumors are abounding on what Lightroom is going to be doing. Any questions on compositing using preview? In Photoshop, significantly easier, but it's a higher end. This is available also, from what I've been told, Photos in Windows and the Photos app on Android have very similar features.
This is how you put yourself in your own photo.
Oh yeah, I do that. I go in and add, I love doing this, adding people in that weren't there. Oh, my Aunt Matilda couldn't make it. Can you add her to the group photo? Yeah. And I go in and figure out, where to put her. Or, somebody couldn't make it. Can you please add them in?
And then it misses
Or
their memory. How did I get in this photo? I wasn't there, was I?
my favorite one is, can you get rid of my ex-husband out of this picture? I get at least twice a year that request. Normally out of wedding photos. Group photos, when I do group photos, especially when you've got a group photo and you got everybody's perfect except one person. And it's that 11-year-old kid that refuses to look at the camera when everybody else is. So what you do is you go through all your photos until you find his face that's right. There's got to be one where he slips up, and you go in and take his face out and put that in the group widgets. Yes, sir.
I just not used to seeing those formats as IJPEG instead of JPEG, and that the IMG, I'm used to seeing the other side like a.
No, it's always dot format. That's a default file name. That's a default file name for images coming out of photos is IMG underscore and a number, and then dot JPEG or dot PNG.
You can do a similar thing with freeform, but it doesn't merge the pixels. You still got two layers in terms of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you
then you
could
can
go back and
export it.
edit it in terms of the.
Then you could go in and export that as a PDF.
Yeah, you could,
Yeah.
and then it would.
I just learned something. So everyone knows is that we, the guys who run this club, don't know everything. And we learn as much every meeting as you guys do. Sometimes even more because of the questions you ask. I never thought of doing that. Like Barry asked a question on freeform. I never thought to even try that. Now I know, and that just opens up a whole new possibility. Oh, by the way, for those of you who use freeform, the new freeform as part of the upgrade, freeform for the first time. Because what you can do is set up section, and you have a table of contents over here. Click here, and it takes you right to that section, so you can actually maneuver around it. Okay, so any questions on compositing? It makes it usable if you want to do quick and dirty. This one of my wife, I did this on the iPhone. I took this picture of her. The background was terrible in the original. So I just took her out and sent a picture of it to my daughter so she could see what she looked like in the dress. For quick and dirty stuff, it's great. Is it professional level? Is it rapidly approaching that? And honestly, the photos is rapidly catching up with Lightroom, which is interesting because Lightroom was a outgrowth of the Apple product Aperture. When Adobe saw what Apple was doing with Aperture, which was a photo editing system, It was amazing. And for some reason, Apple dropped it. Adobe said, we got to catch up because they're going to take all the photo bits because hundreds of thousands of people were switching to Aperture. So they introduced Lightroom. Photoshop was designed not for photographers. Photoshop was designed for special effects for a movie that some of you may remember. It's a little dated right now. It's called Star Wars. That's why Photoshop was invented, is to do the special effects for Star Wars. Well, other photographers came along and said, wow, I mean, this can do things that we just dreamed of doing. And then Apple discovered Aperture by a group of developers in Germany, bought the rights to it, started marketing it, and it was a photo editing application that had been designed by photographers for photographers. Well, this is what we were dreaming of, because Photoshop, while it can do great special effects, is terrible for managing. It's terrible. Well, then Adobe came along and said, geez, we need to do something. And so they came up with Lightroom. Lightroom, for the first 3 generations, was absolutely terrible to use. I mean, it was unusable. Nobody could figure out how to do anything. Lightroom 3 was the first one that came along that was usable. And then the battle started between Aperture and Lightroom, Aperture, Lightroom, Aperture, Lightroom. And then after about 7 years, Apple announced that they were terminating Aperture. What? They even sent out, I had downloadable, a utility to convert from Aperture to Lightroom for all of your libraries. So we don't know what happened on that. Okay, I'm gonna get out of this. Okay, and now we're gonna go back here. So we've got that demo out of the way. Trimming videos. I'm not gonna show you how to do video editing. I'm gonna show you how to remove the front or back of a video so you can get down to a specific area you want to do business with. I'm going to show you how to do it in Photos, and then I'm going to try and show you how to do it in Lightroom. If you want to do video editing, this is not the place to do it. I'm also going to show you how to use QuickTime to do it, which is the video viewing software for the Mac. And I forget, Windows has got one that's almost identical to it. I don't remember what it's called. What?
Something play or play something.
Yeah. Since I retired, I don't use Windows that much anymore because that was the work system. So if you want to do video editing, different software. This is only for trimming. Yeah. Now, let's go through it and talk a little bit about it. macOS Photos has no video editing capability. If you want to edit, you use QuickTime. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go into Photos, come over here to my media types and look for videos. And here I have a whole bunch of videos. And I'm going to select one. Ooh, the Lamborghini. For those of you who have not seen it, somebody in this town has got a Lamborghini. You can hear this sucker a mile away. It's amazing. It's about a $500,000 car, is our estimates right now. It's a 1985 Lamborghini. I have no idea who owns it. I am pretty sure he lives over off of Avenida Cochise on the south side of Avenida Cochise, of Avenida and Coronado. That development, I think that's where he lives, but I'm not. So what we're gonna do, here's the video. And I wanna trim that down to just about from there as he makes a turn and you can hear the engine. So I'm going to come over here to export one video. I'm only gonna make it a 1080p. I'm going to export it to Movies, a new file folder called Demo. Okay, so I'm going to open this, and here we are in QuickTime. So, and you know, we play it, just like we did before. We can fast forward through it. But now I'm going to come up to Trim. And now it brings up this little box down here where I can go through and move the beginning of the video to right about there. I can change the end of the video, and I want to change the end to right about there. And then I hit the trim button, and it is now trimmed into a new movie. Okay, if you don't save this, you've lost it. So I hit the play button. And I have my clip video. I can go up and open up the other one. So I now have both of them open. This is the original. See that where it started. So I have the video trimmed. And this is great when you're taking videos and you want to get rid of it real fast. It works really well. You cannot do trimming inside of Photos. Now, On the iPhone and iPad, yes, you can. You cannot do it on the Mac. And I'm going to show that in just a second. Any questions about trimming? You have the same capability in Windows, same capability in Android, but on all the platforms, I'll get you a second, all the platforms, it saves it as a new document. So you've got to save it or you'll lose it. Yeah, Barry?
On Windows, at least Windows 11, the Microsoft website says they have added an app called Clip on Word
That's right.
as the official Microsoft video editor.
Clip Chat is a very interesting application. I've used it a couple of times. I'm not too sure what their target audience is. Does it do a good job?
It says the same for Windows 10, except for I think you have to download it in Windows 10 from the store.
It's not available in Windows 10.
It's included with a Windows 11.
But it does do a good job. I was just expecting, I think, a little bit more because it doesn't have a whole lot of features to it. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation in iOS. Now, in iOS, both on the Mac and iOS, if you want to do serious video, but not professional level, iMovie does a much better job. iMovie has a little bit of a learning curve. And then the top end is either Premiere, which is multiple platform, Final Cut Pro. And there is literally wars that go on in the movie editing industry as to which one to use. Premiere and what's the special effects? After Effects or Final Cut Pro and Motion. Which one? And I'd say I'm now going to demonstrate how to do video trimming in iOS on the iPhone or iPad. I'm going to open up the video we just created, as you can see here, and down at the bottom menu down here, you'll see a heart, a circle eye, 3 horizontal lines. Well, you tap on the 3 horizontal lines, and that brings open this player. You can scrub across, and if you grab these arrows right here, it turns yellow, and that's how you can trim the video at either end, just like that. The nice thing about it is, when you're done, that the video can be edited again. Come right back in, or you can save it as a new clip, actually do the cutting. And that's all there is to it.